Hey, I'm Chase Cunningham or Dr. Cunningham or Dr. Zero Trust, depending on the day of the week. I'm here with Michael from Mammoth Cyber. We're going to talk about his particular approach to Zero Trust. Michael, why don't you give us a little bit of background on who you are and what you do?
Hi, Chess. It's nice to talk to you. My name is Michael Shieh. I'm doing the security for more than 20 years. Pretty much my first touch on the security industry is building the VPN solution for a company called NetScreen. NetScreen was when IPO and acquired by the Juniper Network, and that pretty much is starting my career.
Oh, wow. So your first shot out of the bag went to IPO, huh? That's
Yeah, I
a
was lucky to join a small company at that time. And I think security used to be just more like an insurance company that, you are fine without it, but, buy it with more insurance. But right now, actually, it's become a critical infrastructure of every single company.
hmm.
It's amazing that we'll be able to see the industry evolve.
So pivoting into Mammoth Cyber, where you're at now, what is the difference that Mammoth Cyber's bringing to the market? I mean, you guys have got the browser side of things. What's the Mammoth Cyber position for ZT?
Yes. I think it's interesting that for all the zero trust solution people talk about, majority are really address the issue from the networking side. But I think Memo's we develop based on the browser is in the category of enterprise browser. It actually address that entirely different way. It's really from the endpoint with a browser centric solution. I think that gives us a lot more visibility and how the access behavior is done, and be able to have a lot more control over that.
Now, I think a lot of people get wrapped up kind of around like the browser side of the value proposition of the browser in the context of security. Why, why are we seeing more browser isolation solutions now? Like, why is it all of a sudden become a viable thing in the market? It used to be like when I was doing browser security a few years ago, people were like, it's VDI with some steroids, but now it's like a legit solution set.
Yeah, I think it's really how the web application evolved. Used to be the data leakage focused on this high upload download, so a lot of companies really focus on that. But in today's web application, it's easy to leak out information like copy paste the content into the application. Even you hit a print button and the entire web page or the PDF is out, but it's not really a download event there. So a lot of behavior that user is doing, be able to avoid traditional DLP solutions, and that's really part of the uh, benefit bringing from the enterprise browser is it be able to monitor the entire set of the user behavior and be able to do a lot better control on the data leakage side, on device control, even on the identity side by monitor how user login into the different website.
And all that's policy related, right? I mean, all this has to be managed by a policy engine. You're not able to do these things one off.
Uh, Yes, I think usually the journey is you'll be able to see all the activity there. Then you start figure out how you want to tune in, and if there's any higher risk of application or behavior is happening. And I think the problem is before the browser or endpoint focused solution, there's no visibility there, and just people usually either ignore or they just are not aware something happened there. With a browser, you start seeing everything is happening, and you'll be able to right now to control for those behavior.
Well, when you're talking about the browser and the endpoint side of it, I mean, are we beholden to only a human using the browser, or how does that work when it's when it's not a person leveraging a browser, or is that out of bounds of what Mammoth's doing?
Yes. I think today majority of the usage on the browser is still by the human being. Of course, we all know human is the weakest link there, so they be able to help to secure the human behavior. We do see the trend, the AI is coming, and a lot of AI tool right now try to using the browser as a tool, help them to discover or crawl the website to find a lot of things. And virtually, I have a project there to start secure on that. We see that the trend that eventually a lot of behavior is done by human being, could be the AI, and those part needs to be secure.
Yeah, I think that that's interesting because I've been asking that question around a little bit for people too. Is like, well, if we're going to accept that agentic AI and AI is going to become the I guess I don't know second iteration of humanity in the digital space or whatever we're going to call it, like, well, then do we apply the same controls to those AI agents that we do to people? And if we do we like we know that people suck at phishing, so our browser is going to take care of that because an agent is just going to do what an agent does. It's not even as smart as a person, and some people ain't that smart, right?
Yeah, exactly. And also, I think AI today is really a black box. You have no idea what you're going to do. Of course, we see the input output, but do they really go through some site that allowed it, to pull the information, or if those information is poor, not authorized to the user? All those, right now is still a mixed box, and also depends on the model by model. But with the I think that there's need to monitor and control tool in between to really be able to control and those behavior. And that's something that browser actually is on the right spot because it's really on the endpoint interact with the user, and so be the entry point for those AI tool to be able to connect to the internet on the browsing side.
So, I mean, I guess, a bit of a tangential question, but kind of, leading the witness too. Like I mean, my opinion is I think we should be able to put this type of control in front of agents and agentic AI and all this stuff as well. I personally can't understand why people still even have the wherewithal to have an argument against browser-based security and those types of things. Like, it still kind of boggles my mind when people are going, well, I don't know about that. It's like, dude, everybody uses the browser. Your first line of defense is the browser. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, I guess traditional browser is really for browsing only. So people really just focus on how well the result can be returned faster and be able to rendering correctly. But I think when members we build a browser, it's not just a more secure browsing experience. I think the key is really be able to link all the data enterprise infrastructure. Like we can link to the identity provider, we link to the key vault, and we understand the application, we understand the data, we understand what's happening on the endpoint side. And when you combine everything with a browser, you have a very powerful tool because right now you are not just focused on browsing. You really know who is connected to where and what are they doing. And right now you have a lot more control over that. I think usually my experience is that first when I talk to the customer who haven't known the Android browser, their first response is, "Why do I need another browser? Because my Chrome, my Microsoft Edge work very well." But after I explain to them, a lot of time they realize this makes sense because today a lot of solution actually doing on the networking side, they can only do so much. Especially right now, a lot of people travel, work from home. The distributing access scenario is very different from traditional concentrate on the office level. With that, be able to bring the security close to endpoint on the browser, where 85% of the time we spend on that, the answer they say is yes, this makes sense, and usually that's how the conversation starts.
Yeah, and I mean, I think too, it's also interesting because lately I've been, kind of paying attention to what's going on with the trends and attacks, where it used to be big enterprise and financial, the kind of mega targets were where the compromises occurred. That's not the case anymore. Like, actually, I'm working on a document I'm getting ready to release that it's it's usually vendors, third parties, home networks, and people at school that are now the avenue for compromise. And for me, everybody uses the freaking browser. So why would you not put a secure browser in front of those people so that you can mitigate your risk to someone else? I mean, that seems like a very simple fix.
Exactly. Yeah. Today the attack not only limit to the large enterprise. Everyone actually could potentially get attacked, and that's how prevail it is. And but that's also our browser have actually a good opportunity to really sit with the user and protect them.
So you guys have got some stuff on your site that you talk about data first security and how does Mammoth kind of lean in on that? Like when you say data first security, explain that to me in the context of what you guys do.
Yes, I think first is we expand traditional definition of a DLP that not only the file but we can cover the content of a copy and paste. We can see what's a print there. We can control the screen sharing. We support the data masking. So if there's any PI information is not target for the user, we can real time to mask the data. We also support the data watermark. With that, you can put the watermark on any web page by application by user to prevent, let's say, if there's any insider threat that try to steal the company information. And all this is really simple by just deploy a browser and with a couple button to enable a configuration, and the whole protection is there. I think this we actually also bring another concept. We call it data isolation. That user right now can access all the data they need, but they don't need to download any data into the endpoint side. So for those type of scenario, is add on additional security into that.
Yeah, that's kind of cool too, because I mean, data isolation I think makes a lot of sense, and being able to put those policies where they need to go. Like I guess kind of a thought leading question here. Like if you, as a CEO of a company doing what you do, was going to fix any one problem in cyber, like which one would you say I got to fix this now? Is it users on the internet? Is it data security? Like what in a perfect world, what does Michael fix first?
Yeah, that's a good question though. A lot of time is really depends on different company, but I would say the key issue is let the user very easy to connect to their data, and the security is just underline a must, because this is really when it's enable the user productivity, then easy to connect to the application and without going through a lot of hook to enable different security. With that, I think the browser is the best tool that we actually integrate with a it's kind of VPN-like solution. So you can just open up the browser, connect to the application anywhere to your internal application in the data center inside your public cloud, AWS, Azure, or GCP, and SaaS application, of course. With that, everything can secure connect, and data is freely copy and pass into different application, but all under the guideline and control by the security team. I think that's really something we don't see the security must be hinder the usability. It actually should be increase and enhance the user productivity there.
Yeah, and I don't buy the argument anymore from people too when they're, they'll, oh, well, adding another level of complexity in the browsers, blah, blah, blah. I'm always going, have you tried to use a regular browser right now? Because there's a lot of stuff in a browser. I mean, it's no longer just using the internet. Like I'm looking at it right now and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 browser extensions. I've got 53 tabs open. I mean, the browser is not just some simple thing. I don't think we give enough credit to humans. Like maybe it's a different problem, but I don't think we give enough credit to most people that they are more technically adept than we think they are, at least at the basics of using tools that give them access to the internet. I mean, do you think I'm wrong?
No, yeah, actually, that's perfect address that, the browser that I say, is most used tool by everyone, every single company, everyone use a browser every day. And that's also where a lot of complexity, extension, there's a different JavaScript running, all that. And that's really hard to solve by consumer based browser like, Chrome today, because it's a single browser need to sit on the standalone endpoint. They can really do so much. But with the enterprise browser, you got a cloud-based control point that be able to work with the browser together. That actually enable a lot of security and connectivity. From that consumer base just cannot do today. So be able
No.
to integrate all this together, that actually simplify a lot of operation and security management, but also enhance the user productivities.
Yeah, I mean, it probably frees up a lot of memory too on machines because my machine sounds like an F-18 trying to take off when I'm using the browser right now with all the crap I got running on it. Where you guys also have a mobile capability, right? I can run this on my phone.
Yes, actually, mobile, especially iOS, today is a tough problem to solve because iOS actually put a lot of limitation on how the connectivity could do. So a lot of people they need to install the MDM and enable the VPN profile, maybe enable some of the containerization. But with that, you still have internet access actually not protected. We actually learn, there's a hacker campaign happened early this year. They target those mobile users and be able to launch the phishing attack and steal the credential. And that actually caused some of the trouble for some companies there. But with
Hmm.
a browser, actually, it's easy that you just download from the App Store into your iPhone or iPad. And after the authentication, right now you can easily connect to either your internal application by just one click, or everything go on the internet are protected. And I
Hmm.
think this is a special benefit for a lot of companies today. Don't issue separate iPhone for user anymore. And from the statistics, 70% of the user use their personal phone to access the company information.
Including
But
the
with a
Secretary of
browser right
Defense.
now, yes. So with a mobile browser, Mammoth mobile browser, right now is easy. You can connect to everywhere. So actually, this is get back to what I said earlier. A lot of times this increase a lot of user productivity. But with a enterprise browser, we build all the security are handled. So the people right now actually freed up, be able to do a lot of things that cannot do before.
Yeah, I was looking around to see the different clients that are available on the App Store for this type of thing, and it's yeah, there it is. There's the Mammoth browser.
Yes.
Folks, when you literally go into your App Store, type Mammoth browser, looks like that right there. You can get it and start using it. I mean, you got
Yeah.
5-star
Of
ratings.
course,
Yeah.
Uh, yes, of course, you still need to set up a account in our cloud because all the control in the cloud. Yeah, but for whatever interesting, please send an email to us. We can easily enable the account for you to try.
Yeah, no, I think that that's. I mean, like me, my kids, my family, them. Like the first thing I always tell everybody is find some sort of password management solution, find an enterprise browser, browser-based isolation, and then do all the other stuff later. These are simplistic solutions that solve a giant problem. I think you guys are interesting because you're one of the few that I've found that actually has an app store client for people to use.
Yes, and but I think that's also very beneficial for the deployment side. That right now, with anyone's personal phone, you actually can be set up to connect to the internal application easily. And also, this doesn't intrude any privacy because, of course, we will have full monitoring and control on the enterprise application running inside our browser. But you are also free to use your browser, the personal browser, or even any native application that we won't see and control. So I think it's a perfect world between the personal versus the corporate separation there.
Yeah, because I mean, nobody wants to buy two devices, especially for small and mid-sized business and those types as well. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, so last question, like, where's Mammoth go in the next X number of years, and kind of what's your view on what this whole zero trust thing looks like over the course of the next, 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, we actually see, every quarter we see the awareness of enterprise browser rising, and I say, people say, hey, this makes sense. Of course, they will think about how the new security tool can be able to integrate with the infrastructure today, because a lot of them are designed by the networking layer solution. But a lot of time they figured out this actually simplify their infrastructure because with the endpoint security solution that you can be able to fully control how it works and where they can connect. it actually simplifies a lot of networking, routing, all that. Original is pretty complicated. And we've seen that this is going to prevail. More people can adapt the Android browser. And also with the trend that AI is still coming, eventually a lot of search and starts to become the AI. But the browser is there. Browser is still the main tool that you connect to all the internet with a different site. And so the security, I think we will see that also converts into the browser on the endpoint side. And also with the same the popularity that AI is popular in usage, I think the browser security will also prevail in the coming years.
Yeah, I mean, browsers. I just think browser security, browser isolation, putting the stuff in front of the user makes so much sense. I would, if somebody put a gun to my head and said, "Would you rather have phishing training or browser isolation?" I'd take browser isolation all day, every day. I don't even, the market around phishing training has been comically oversized, if you ask me. So I'm glad to see that there's folks out there that are still working to bring solutions that are going to kind of negate some of that stuff. I mean, everybody loves phishing training, right? We all want to do that every day. It's so super awesome.
Yeah, of course, that's a lovely one. But think about if there's something embedded in your browser, it is AI like intelligence help you to do that. Yeah, so eventually you train the AI, not train your user. That
Exactly.
actually
Yeah.
simplifies a lot of things.
Right. Why are we trying to train people not to, like, oh, here, let me put you on the internet and then train you not to click links? Like, what? That makes no sense. It's like saying, let me put you in a car, but let me train you not to use the brakes. I mean, that's just kind of dumb. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yep.
All right, folks. So if you're listening to this is Michael Shieh from Mammoth Cyber. They've got a mobile client. It's on the App Store. Go check that out. He's glad to set up accounts for y'all and kind of get things going for you there. But I really appreciate you jumping on, and I'm going to keep, talking about cybersecurity in the context of ZT and browser isolation because I think it makes sense, and I really appreciate your time and your insights here.
Yeah, appreciate to have me today, and it's great to talk to you.